Hello and welcome to the Scots Sports Show. I'm Drew Patrick. Joined with me as always is Mike Fenner. Let's start today's show off with the Scots of the Week. Let's start on the women's side, Mike.
And congratulations to junior Holly Stein of the swim team, who earned all PSAC honors with a third-place finish in the 100-yard breaststroke, finishing with a time of 1:03.79, and also the junior recording a pair of fourth-place finishes in the 200-yard breaststroke with 2:06.57 and the 200-yard individual medley at 2:08.10. Congratulations once again to Holly Stein, our female Scot of the Week.
For the men, the Scot of the Week was Josh Bebout of the men's swim team. He recorded a fourth-place finish and a pair of fifth-place finishes in the PSAC Championships in Lock Haven. The senior placed fourth in the 1,000-yard freestyle at 9:30.27 and fifth in both the 1,650-yard freestyle at 16:13.39 and the 500-yard freestyle at 4:35.37. Congratulations to Josh on the Scot of the Week. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll carry on with the Scott Sports Show. Don't go anywhere.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
So good to see you guys. So, what's up?
Oh, we finally bought a place.
Holy cow.
You seriously have enough saved to do that?
We've been putting a little aside each month.
Jeez, at the end of the month, we have nothing left to save.
Yeah, I have no idea where it goes.
Well, you're spending a lot on...
Is it good?
Oh, God.
Oh, how is my account overdrawn?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
To compete for a championship in stadiums full with cheering fans and families. To give back. To say thank you for your support. To learn, grow, and prepare for the future. Ask any NCAA student athlete what they want, and this is what they'll tell you. Ask these student athletes, and they'll say with pride, I chose Division II.
The NCAA Division II student-athlete experience goes beyond the classrooms and playing fields. It means a commitment to service and community, helping organizations like the Make-A-Wish Foundation by raising money to help grant the wishes of children with life-threatening medical conditions. Kids like Jacob.
Some student-athletes gave of their time and their energy to raise the money.
It was fun to meet Jeff Gordon.
NCAA Division II, training student-athletes for lifelong achievement.
Welcome back to the Scots Sports Show. We are joined by track and field head coach Anne Carlson. Coach, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So the track team had a busy week, but they didn't have to go that far from home as we hosted the Edinburgh Invitational. First, what were your overall thoughts of how the teams did at this event?
I thought we did exactly what we went there to do. Anyone that remembers in the past, we used to go this weekend to a big meet at Kent State. Unfortunately, they kept upping minimum measurement marks and marks to get in and stuff like that. And we had kids that would be right on the edge of getting into the conference meet that wouldn't be able to compete, or the standards would be so high they may hit a conference qualifying mark, but it wouldn't count because they wouldn't measure it or something like that. So a few coaches, if anyone that saw the results, the meet was very small. A few coaches got together and said, you know, we need to do something that's best for our kids, and we can't keep sending them somewhere that they don't really get to compete. So we had a couple people that upped their conference qualifying standards. We had some people, you know, that got PRs and things like that. So we went out and accomplished just what we needed to, and it didn't take very long.
Let's talk about some of those finishers. Let's start with Gabby Schultz. To see the freshman come in here and be as successful as she's been, What do you see in her growth, and how does that help the team when you get a young player this good so far?
One thing that's been great about Gabby, and we talked about this a little bit when she was on last time, is her consistency. She has been hitting almost the exact same marks. In fact, I think there's 2 or 3 meets that she has hit exactly her PR in the weight throw. But that's huge because going into the conference meet, there's been other people that have had huge throws and are ahead of her on the conference list, but they did it once or twice. And she has been consistently in that same spot. So you're going to see her knock off some people, hopefully, that have higher PRs and stuff than her because she's consistent, and that's huge. And it's good, and it's hard to find consistency in a freshman. If you see some of our other kids, they may run great one meet and not so great the other meet and stuff like that. And with her, every week it's about the same thing, which is awesome.
And Coach, let's talk about the distance squad for a second. In the 1 mile run, we took home the first 3 spots with Casey Jones, Ida Narbaval, and Emma Sullivan. What is it like to have such a great distance team? I mean, a lot of them come over from the cross-country team, but Casey was out of years of eligibility for the cross-country team, so she was non. So to have her back with this team, and to know that they should still be in shape from cross-country season, how much of a benefit is that to your team?
Oh, it's huge. You know, they run quite a few distance races at the conference meet. Those our cross-country girls will run everything from the 800 meters up to the 5K this weekend, including legs on the distance medley relay, the 4x8, and actually a couple of our cross-country girls will bump down and run legs of our 4x4. So it's huge to have that. Obviously, they're very good when it comes to the conference meet. They won the conference cross-country meet. You know, we're second in the region, so you know, there's obviously some of the top runners in the conference, so that will be huge for us. And, you know, as I said, that as an event group, they're going to really be carrying our team. We have people scattered out in a few other events. They're not, you know, going to be the only ones that score points for us. But as a whole, that's where we're going to see the large majority of our points. So that's huge that those girls, having Casey back is awesome. If people remember, she was out last outdoor season. She did compete indoor for us, but because of an injury was out last outdoor season for us. So it's huge to have her back and running.
And Coach, for you personally, over the weekend, being inducted into the University of Central Missouri Hall of Fame, the Athletic Hall of Fame there, what did that mean for you to be a part of that?
Oh, it was huge. I mean, I just think of all the people that I think were way better than me and stuff when I look back to college and things like that, and to be put in that same group is just, I mean, it's indescribable to be put in with those same people. So it's an awesome experience.
And what was it like to be back on campus there? I mean, was there any of that nostalgia going back?
Oh, definitely. I had to go and eat in all my old favorite places and all that type of stuff. And they actually hosted a track meet. My school hosted a track meet Friday night, so I got to go back and work and talk with some of the kids. I know some of them from, you know, us both being Division II schools. We go to the national meet and stuff like that. But I got to meet some of the younger kids and things like that. So that was really cool to kind of see the traditions that were in place when I was in school still going on now, and they're really just like we were and stuff, so it's pretty cool.
And what were the reactions of your athletes when they found out that you were going to be honored like this with such a prestigious award? I mean, what did they have to say about it?
Well, I think once they got over the fact I was going to miss practice in a meet, no, they were really great. Obviously, like you said, we hosted a home meet, and that's a lot of work, and they stepped up and set everything up, tore everything down. We had no issues. I had multiple coaches from other teams contact me and tell me how great they all were and stuff like that. And that's huge because without them being on my side and supported me doing this, I couldn't have done it. It wouldn't have mattered that the administration was on board and stuff like that. If my kids wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have happened. So it's really huge that they stepped up, and it means a lot to me that they would do that for me.
And this weekend, we have one of the biggest meets of the year. It's the PSAC Championships. And we get to host it right here in the Dome. Is it a sort of a positive? Does it give you any advantage to be able to host the PSAC Championship?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, a huge advantage. Our kids are going to sleep in their own beds. They're going to be on their own routines. They're going to go to classes and stuff on Fridays where a lot of people are traveling. Maybe they don't like that. But, you know, we're going to kind of work through our same schedule. They're going to get a practice at home. We're going to stick to our same routines and stuff. And they're, like I said, they're going to sleep in their own beds. They're going to wake up. They're going to eat breakfast like they always do. And they're going to come over to the Dome. It's the exact same thing, whereas other schools are, you know, busing all the way across the state. They're missing classes all day Friday. They're, you know, sleeping in hotel rooms and stuff, which isn't always a positive thing before competing. So, yes, it's huge. Our kids also understand our track. Anyone that's ever been on our 236-meter track understands it's very confusing, but our kids know where the splits are and things like that. So that's huge for us, yes.
And so what do you think the goals are for your team? I'm guessing to try and get some national qualifying times, but what are the goals either personally for a couple of the runners or as a team?
Well, we don't necessarily have team goals this year. We're kind of down numbers overall. It's not a bad thing. It's not, we still have some very talented kids. We have a lot of kids qualified for the meet, but unfortunately, a lot of them aren't in positions right now to score, but anyone that goes could score, so hopefully some people surprise us. So, that's one of the things, is some of the kids that are ranked down in the teens or low 20s that, they find a way, to get in the top 8, obviously top 8 score. And we want all of our kids then that are in the low teens and, high single digits and stuff to find a way to score more points. If you're ranked 8th, let's try to score 7th, let's try to score 6th. We also have some people that are ranked first, some relay teams that could win. So obviously being a conference champion is always a huge deal. So we should take home a few of those. And then yes, national qualifying marks, obviously we're always still chasing those. So hopefully we see a couple in some of the distance races.
All right, Coach, thank you so much for joining us here today, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
And the Scots Sports Show will roll along right after this. Don't go anywhere.
My experience at Perico has been so great. I feel like it's really my time for school now. I tried going back to school when I first graduated from high school. I just wasn't ready.
It's closer to home. It's very much more affordable than the other colleges in the city. When I finished my degree here at Perico, it would provide me with higher pay. I can actually grow more in my company than I would if I wasn't going to school.
Perico College, affordable, career-ready education.
We dig deep.
We overcome obstacles.
We come together.
We prepare.
We hit the ground running.
And we achieve our goals.
We train hard.
And we compete even harder.
We reach new heights.
We win.
And at Edinburgh University, we create champions on and off the field.
NCAA Division II has much to cheer about, as nearly 100,000 student athletes compete with passion and pride. And I'm pleased to share the best news of all. Student athletes are outperforming the rest of the D2 student body in graduation rates. Just another reason why you'll hear us say with pride, I chose Division II. Learn more at d2sa.org.
Welcome back to the Scots Sports Show. We are now joined by the swim coach, Chris Rhodes, and member of the men's swimming team, Micah Cottrell. Thank you guys both for joining us today.
Great to be here.
So last week we had the PSAC Championships in Lock Haven. Coach, to start, what were your thoughts on how your teams finished?
I thought we did very well. I think it goes to show that when they train well and train hard, what they put into it is what they're going to get out of it. And, we did a great job all year with our training in the water, in the weight room, and, we had some great swims.
Micah?
I'd agree with him. I think this year was probably the hardest training we've done, especially in the weight room. It was great this year. Then practice, too. I thought we had some really intense practices, some really great ones, and it was just a lot of fun to be able to go through this year and see what we could do.
And so you were part of a group that finished 5th in, I believe it was the 500-yard freestyle relay, or 500-yard relay.
The 800 free relay, probably.
Yes.
I think it was one of them.
So to be a part of a team, what does it what is the difference to swim as a part of a group like that than doing individual?
It's a lot more fun, I think, because you've got 3 other people you're with right behind the blocks, and you're all counting on each other to do well. If one person doesn't do well, then that's the entire relay. Like, you have to lean on each other to do well. It's not just on your own. So it puts a little bit more pressure, and it's a little bit more fun because you've got those other people you're counting on and that you want to do well for, and they want to do well for you. So it's a lot of fun.
And finishing 5th in the PSACs, I mean, how do you feel like you guys stacked up in terms over the weekend versus earlier this season? How do you feel like you guys competed then?
I thought we did pretty well, right around I think where we thought we would be. It was a good race with Ship, Clarion, and us for that kind of 5th position. Bloom and Westchester are both great teams and kind of just blow things out of the water. But it was great to be 5th. Thought we competed very well, and we won the races where we needed to, especially against Clarion and Ship. We beat them in the relays, and just when we needed to get there, we got it.
And Coach, let's take a look on the women's side. We'll speak to Holly Stein a little later on the show, but the women's side, what were your thoughts?
I thought they did tremendous. The conference is extremely deep, both on men and women, but having 12 women's teams there, the competition is fierce. So taking 11 women and some teams having the full 18. I knew that we were going to have to swim well to be able to compete, and we, from the gate, we did a great job. Our IEMers dropped a ton of time. The thing about the pool is, it's a tough sprinting pool, but I think our sprinters did a great job, and especially our distance group. Mary Rosati, she had the meat of her life. I mean, every time she jumped in the pool, it was a lifetime best. So I think that, to come away with a 7th place finish, I mean, is great. We had one little hiccup on a relay, and then, that would have put us 6th if we don't DQ that. So where we finished is kind of where I thought we were going to be. When you get to the conference meet, it's a lot about depth and your numbers. And that's something that now in our recruiting phase, that's something that we're going to try to hammer down on a little bit to have a full squad there and to really start competing for those top 3 spots.
And you mentioned that recruiting. What exactly is, because people know the recruiting cycle for like football and basketball, but what is the recruiting cycle for swim?
Never ending. That's exactly what it is. Now we have our 2nd signing period coming up in April. A lot of our recruits right now are swimming their championship meets, so we'll be going to watch them swim, kind of see where they can fit in, not only with our program, but with the conference as well. So I think that what we're looking for and what we need, I think, is out there for us. Now it's just a matter of going out and getting those student athletes to commit.
And Micah, how rewarding is it when you have these early morning practices? You really grind and getting after it all season long, and to be able to compete at a high level and see the payoff, toward the end of the season like this.
I mean, it's definitely rewarding. You're up at 5:30, 5:40 every single morning, getting in the water, getting in the weight room, working out, and just being able to get to that final meet and see it pay off, see that, all the hard work you put in throughout the year, not even just in the mornings, every afternoon, going working out a couple hours every day, and being able to come in and compete well and see how you do, that's what we live for.
And Micah, also you were recognized as a scholar athlete by the PSAC. How important is academics to the athletics structure?
I think academics is extremely important because, at the end of 4 years, you're done competing, but you still have your entire life. So academics is very, very important. And you want to do well because then that too looks good. It looks good with the program, If being able to say, we got the women's side too, we had the champion scholar there, being able to get both of them this first time in conference history, one swim team has had both of them. It's just great, and it goes to show that we work hard not just with swimming and athletics, but we're student athletes. We're students too, and we're going to work hard in the class.
And to have that exact thing, to have 2 players on your team take home those awards, what does that say to you as the coach?
That they're committed. Like Micah said, we are student athletes first, and that's something that I try to strive for. I think that, when people are looking at colleges, again, it's going to be a great recruiting tool for me, And I think it just says a lot about our student athletes as individuals, that they want to perform, they want to excel both in the pool and in the classroom. We try to provide that environment where when they are going to be successful. And I think it goes to show that we've done a pretty good job.
All right, Coach Micah, thank you guys both for joining us here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Scots Sports Show continues on right after this break. Stay with us.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Welcome back to the Scots Sports Show. Let's continue to talk swimming as we now are joined by Holly Stein. Holly, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We talked to your coach early on, and we talked about the PSAC Championships. But what is your takeaway from the PSAC Championships?
I think I had a really good meet. I think there were definitely areas that I could have improved upon. But overall, I'm happy with how I did, and I think I had a good meet. And I stayed positive throughout the whole thing, so that was my biggest goal. So.
And as a team, you finished, I believe, 7th out of the 12 teams. But Coach said, it's a very deep conference. In terms of a team score, what do you take away from that team score?
I think that we could have placed higher than we did. But like Coach said, the conference is a very deep conference. We have a really good conference. There's a lot of good teams in our conference. So even though 7th is not as high as it could have been, I think that we did really well because we do have a really good conference. And there was 13 teams?
13.
I don't know. There was a lot of teams. So, 7th is not bad. So.
And for you, individually earning all PSAC over the weekend as well at the PSACs, what did that mean to you personally to achieve that?
It feels really good. I'm really happy with getting all PSAC. So, I was really happy with that. That's really good. I personally think that that's a really good achievement. So, I was happy with that.
Does that kind of feel rewarding to you, knowing how much time you put
into it?
it?
Yeah, it does, because I definitely trained harder than any other year and put in the dedication and was committed to this year. So, getting rewarded for all that work definitely feels good and feels like it's paying off.
Those early mornings, waking up, jumping
Yeah,
in the
all
pool,
those 6 a.m.s.
Going to class with all the chlorine in your hair.
Yeah.
Really good to pay off. So what can you take from this year, as this was your junior year, I believe, that you can take into your final year that you've learned this year?
That this year I definitely focused on having fun and staying positive. And I think those two things are really what made this year great for me, because all throughout the season I just focused on having fun and staying positive instead of worrying about, what I win or what I placed or beating this person. So I think that really had an impact on my year and really made me have a really good year overall. So I think I'm going to take that into next year and focus on just having fun from my last year.
And real quickly, you were Scot of the Week this week. You were the female Scot of the Week, recognized by your school as the best athlete this week. What does that sort of mean to you?
I think that's a really huge honor. That makes me really happy. So knowing there's a lot of really good athletes at this university, so for them to pick me for the week, that's definitely an honor. So I was really happy to hear that.
All right, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
We will continue on the Scots Sports Show right after this.
My experience at Perico has been so great. I feel like it's really my time for school now. I tried going back to school when I first graduated from high school. I just wasn't ready.
It's closer to home. It's very much more affordable than the other colleges in the city. When I finished my degree here at Perico, it would provide me with higher pay. I can actually grow more in my company than I would if I wasn't going to school.
Perico College, affordable, career-ready education.
We dig deep.
We overcome obstacles.
We come together.
We prepare.
We hit the ground running.
And we achieve our goals.
We train hard.
And we compete even harder.
We reach new heights.
We win.
And at Edinburgh University, we create champions on and off the field.
Welcome back to the Scots Sports Show. We are now talking with the lacrosse team who is getting ready to start their season. Coach, I want to start with you. This is your first year here. What have you sort of got a grasp for in Edinburgh?
You know, it's a great place. I absolutely love it here. It's a great town. I think the campus is great. It's awesome to recruit here. And I absolutely love my team. They're a great bunch of girls, and we're really excited to get started with the season and see how it goes.
With this being your first year, did you feel any pressures trying to relate to these girls, or did it come naturally to you?
I think it came naturally. You know, I think it's been my dream to be a head coach. It's what I've always chased, and I think it's kind of in you. You either have it or you don't. And you know, they might say differently, but I do think that we meshed all pretty well right away. I think being a previous college player, I think it helps them to relate to me as well because, you know, I was in their shoes. I know what it's like.
And Anna and Molly, let's switch that question right on to you. Was it easy to gel with your new coach right away?
Yeah, definitely. Even from the interview process right away, we were all like, we've got to have her. And I think every day it's just been easier and easier to talk to her one-on-one and look at her like a coach, and she's definitely filled those shoes very well. So.
And you all were very a part of finding your new coach. Tell me about that whole search process. What did you all have to do to ultimately find your coach?
Well, we had Haley Wright on our team. She was kind of like the captain of that, and she told us everything about each coach. She got to do the extra interviews, but it was a little scary at first because we met a bunch of different people, and there was ones we didn't like, and there was ones we did, and there was ones that found other jobs and things, but we were pretty involved. We got to put our opinion in, and the university really helped us do that.
And I'll start with you, Coach, with this question. With us being at Edinburgh and the weather not really cooperating, what do you have to do to sort of get ready for the season practice-wise? Where do you practice? Because sometimes the outside is not going to play along with you.
We're actually extremely lucky at Edinburgh to have the dome. That facility is, you know, phenomenal. We would like to have turf in there, but we can't complain because we actually don't lose a lot of our transition game because it is so big in there. We are able to still work on our far passes and, you know, get the girls actually running instead of having to play in a really small space. And, you know, even though we've been hit with a lot of snow on and off, we have had almost a full week, a couple weeks ago, outside on the turf, which was awesome. And one day on Wednesday was like about 50 degrees. And actually starting Sunday, we've been outside. We were outside Sunday, we were outside yesterday, and we'll be outside today. Hopefully tomorrow, fingers crossed. So, you know, it doesn't affect us that much because the dome, you know, it's pretty big. We don't lose a lot of our game.
And do you both see that from a player's perspective too?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's better to be in the dome than be in the gym and having to fight for that spot in the gym. And I think the dome really helps us with speed because the ball, I mean, it's crazy, but it makes us have to expect anything. So I like it.
And with being in the dome, do you think there's any sort of transition from trying to get onto the turf? Do you have any sort of reservations is the best word that I can come up with when you go from having that hard ground right to the turf?
I think, well, I mean, they might have a different perspective as actually running all the time and me just standing there coaching, but I think actually our ground balls, so, you know, when the ball's not caught, unfortunately, our ground balls actually should be better when we get on the turf because it's so much harder in the dome that it forces you to really focus on those fine skills picking it up in the dome. To, you know, if you don't pick it up the right way, you're going to be pushing it around like you're playing hockey. So I think, you know, if we're practicing it the right way in the dome, it should be easier on the turf. I think the biggest adjustment for them is the surface. You know, that's a little bit tough on their legs, I think. But for the most part, I think they've been handling it okay.
And, well, okay, so let's do you agree with your coach there?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree.
So in the preseason rankings, you guys weren't ranked as high as I'm sure you would have liked to be. So going into the season, do you hope to play spoiler, or what is your goal for this year? Let's start with the players.
Personally, I like that we're ranked that low because I want other teams to expect less out of us, and I know that this year we have a lot of potential, so I'd rather have us come out and be more of a surprise than, yeah, that's what I expected.
Yeah, I think every time that teams see that they're playing Edinboro, they're kind of like, all right, this is going to be an easy win for us, but we're a totally different team than we were last year, and I don't think they have any idea what's coming for them. So.
And Coach, hearing your players say that and wanting to be that underdog team that rises, to have players who are all on board with that, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, it means a lot. I always love being the underdog, and I'm so excited. I think, like they said, I think it's better that we were ranked lower. I almost don't want anybody to get film on us because, you know, once we start playing games, people are going to start realizing that they aren't the same team that they were even in fall since I've started coaching them. I mean, we've improved so much just since I've been here. So, you know, I think, like I said again, I'd rather them not see film on our first couple games because then they're going to know, you know, we got to watch out a bit. But it's going to be nice being the underdog. These teams are used to getting the wins, and I think they're going to have a run for their money.
All right, well, I want to wish you all the very best on your season, and hopefully we'll be seeing a lot of your games, as some of them will be broadcast on ETV. Thank you all so much for joining me here today.
Thanks for having us.
And the Scott Sports Show will continue on right after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
NCAA Division II has much to cheer about, as nearly 100,000 student athletes compete with passion and pride. And I'm pleased to share the best news of all. Student athletes are outperforming the rest of the D2 student body in graduation rates. Just another reason why you'll hear us say with pride, I chose Division II. Learn more at d2sa.org.
Ready whenever you are.
All right, welcome back to the Scott Sports Show. Now we talk Borough basketball. You're joined on my right by senior center Tommy Scales. To my left, senior guard Henri Wade Chapman. And to my far left, Coach Pat Cleary. Gentlemen, thanks so much for taking the time and joining us today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we're coming off of a pretty special game on Saturday. A couple things going on there. Senior Day for you two gentlemen, and then also the Make-A-Wish reveal here on campus at Edinboro. For both you guys to start, what did that mean for you, being honored pregame, you know, as seniors going out with your final regular season home games, and then with the Make-A-Wish thing, everything that went into that as well?
It was a day that you've been waiting for since you was a freshman, and the Make-A-Wish was just a blessing for the little guy who got his gift, and it brought a nice crowd.
For me, I just think that for senior night for us was just like a chance to look back and see, you know, everything you've done and how much of a blessing it is, you know, to get that far. And for like he said, the little guy who got the, you know, the basketball and the wish, it was big for him too as well.
And what can you say about kind of the experience, not just you two, but, you know, 5 guys honored with for Senior Day, and, you know, all the experiences that you've had with those guys and with everybody on this team? I mean, what can you say about that?
You feel old. You really feel old. Like, man, like I remember when I was just a freshman, so, you know, to see that, you know, we all here together is just, it's crazy.
It's just been a lot of fun for me. I've been here longer than most of the guys, but built a quick bond when they transferred in, so I just had a lot of fun.
And on Saturday was a game against the Seton Hill Griffins. Started off pretty well, Coach. 14-5 out of the gates. What do you think attributed to that strong start for you guys? But then kind of the turnaround with Seton Hill getting back into things in the first half there.
Well, I mean, we knew Seton Hill was very good. And they have tremendous talent across the board. I think they're way better than their record reflects. I thought we came out with a lot of emotion. Guys diving on the floor, making plays. It was just really a lot of fun. And then, you know, we just kind of got content and started trading baskets. We didn't go and get the stops we needed to get. And against a team that talented, you can't just go and trade baskets.
And at the end of that game, a lot of dramatics, a lot of exciting plays at the end there. Henri with the 3 to tie the game late. But then it was Cameron Taylor with the game-winning shot, a second to go in that one. Coach, can you just walk me through that play, the way it was defended, and kind of just how it all unfolded there?
I don't know what else we could have done. You know, gone through it a bunch of times, the same scenario in my head. I thought Boot did a tremendous job on that play. And, you know, the more and more I go back on it, I just sit there and think we shouldn't have been in that position in the first place. We had too many opportunities that we let go. And, you know, good players are going to make good plays. And we just shouldn't have let it get to that point where he had the opportunity to get it.
And now you've got one more regular season game. You know you're going to be at home for the PSAC tournament on Saturday. But first, it's California on the road Wednesday night. What are you seeing out of the Vulcans, and what can you guys work on as kind of a tune-up to get yourself ready for the playoffs when you know it's going to be so tough coming up?
To be honest with you, I think we need to just go out and reestablish our identity. We need to go out and play Edinboro basketball. We just can't sit there and be content to trade baskets with people. We got to go out and dictate the pace of the game, dictate how the game is going to be played, and just really kind of go out and be the aggressor. I mean, California probably has, well, they do have the best front court in our league. I mean, their guys up front at the 4 and 5 spot are the best out of any team in the PSAC. So we know we're going to have our work cut out for us there. We just need to make sure that we go out with the appropriate mindset and basically take care of and control what we can control.
And for you two guys, now knowing that senior day is behind you, one more game in the regular season, and you got the postseason, knowing that, you know, these could be the last games you're playing in, what kind of approach do you take going into these final games? Do you try and extend that season one game at a time?
Just leave it all out on the floor. Try to dominate on defense. We really, like, offense is not really a problem, so if we communicate on defense, I feel like we go forward.
For me, just really just giving it all you got, because you never know. So, you know, so you can wake up the next day like, yeah, I gave it all I had, and that's all you could do.
We talked about the conference tournament coming up. Last year, you guys were in a scenario where you had to go on the road, had to go down to Slippery Rock in the first round, but now you know you'll be at home, whether it's being a 3 or a 4. How important is it, for all three of you guys really, how important is it, you know, kind of being able to wake up in your own beds that day to get things started with the postseason and to be able to play in your own building?
It's huge, because we also, like, it's an advantage, because we know we're going to have fans that come and support us, so any advantage that we have is huge.
We worked all season to take the home court advantage, that's all I got to say.
Yeah, and you know, I think that having the opportunity to finish third is big for us. Just looking at the trajectory that we've been on as a program, going from 8th to 5th to hopefully 3rd, I think that it means we're moving in the right direction as a program. But more importantly, I think that we need to rack up as many wins for these guys as we can. I want these guys to last. I think we've shown that we can play against the top teams in the East and have some success. So we got to make sure we handle our stuff here Wednesday and Saturday here for the conference tournament game. So we have the opportunity to go out East and try to bring back a trophy, because I think we represented ourselves very well in the crossover games. I think we played some very good basketball on the road against the East. And you know, I just want to make sure we have the opportunity to go do it again.
So there you have it. Regular season wraps up on Wednesday at California before the PSAC tournament gets started on Saturday. Gentlemen, thank you so much once again, and good luck going forward.
Thank you.
And we'll be back with more of the Scots Sports Show up next. Don't go anywhere.
So good to see you guys. So, what's up? Oh, we finally bought a place. Holy cow.
You seriously have enough saved to do that?
We've been putting a little aside each month.
Jeez, at the end of the month, we have nothing left to save.
Yeah, I have no idea where it goes.
Well, you're spending a lot on... Is it good?
Oh, God.
Oh, how is my account overdrawn?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
To compete,
For a championship in stadiums full with cheering fans and families. To give back. To say thank you for your support. To learn, grow, and prepare for the future. Ask any NCAA student athlete what they want, and this is what they'll tell you. Ask these student athletes, and they'll say with pride, I chose Division II.
The NCAA Division II student-athlete experience goes beyond the classrooms and playing fields. It means a commitment to service and community, helping organizations like the Make-A-Wish Foundation by raising money to help grant the wishes of children with life-threatening medical conditions. Kids like Jacob.
Some student-athletes gave of their time and their energy to raise the money.
It was fun to meet Jeff Gordon.
NCAA Division II, training student-athletes for lifelong achievement.
That's all we have for you this week on a loaded Scots Sports Show. But before we go, let's take a look at the schedule of upcoming events. Starting on Wednesday, both basketball teams travel to Cal to face the Vulcans. That's right before the playoffs, which is on Saturday. Both teams will host a playoff game against a team yet to be determined. Also on Saturday is the PSAC Championships in track, hosted right here in the Mike Zarofsky Dome. And then on Sunday, the tennis teams are in action against Damon College of New York. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you support all things Borough Athletics. For everything you need to know, go to GoFightingScots.com. Have a good one, and go Borough.